Borders up, covering up the gaping hole. The business owner here, he doesn't want to show you his face, but he does want to show you his frustration over this out-of-control crime. Watch. The engine is still running, even after this daring smash and grab. Check it from security cameras. Just the latest in a terrifying series of these burglaries, all targeting the Fairfax district.
Well, that's a new twist on the smash and grabs. Why use crowbars and hammers when you can just mash a car through the window of that? These smash and grabbers are getting creative up the wazoo on this. Hey, crooks, they got 24/7, 365 to think of this stuff. Wild man battling a car. Cops say he's on drugs in Upland Park. See what happens as we see it. There's the cops rolling in. There's the dude kicking in the car, attacking the car of that, smashing the rear window in. We have the Upland cops rolling in on both ends of the scene on that, making the arrest of that. They say he was high on drugs. Are you going to doubt that? A lot of wild times in the IE. U.S. Attorney Bill Essayli launches Operation Guardian Angel. Bill Malusian. A little preview on that.
And to you, I can tell you that federal frustration with California's sanctuary state law has reached a boiling point. So as you just mentioned, the new U.S. attorney right here in Los Angeles has come up with a plan to force local cooperation with ICE, even if they're a sanctuary jurisdiction. It's called Operation Guardian Angel.
I just love this. Bill Essayli is going to be absolutely awesome on this show. We'll get more into that. Busting the California sanctuary state and city laws. Nothing could be better than that. Trump is going to shield the US of A, so we are almost immune from attack. Here's his latest plan. Here we go.
Great talents, great political talents, and people that love our country. In the campaign, I promised the American people that I would build a cutting-edge missile defense shield to protect our homeland from the threat of foreign missile attack. And that's what we're doing. Today, I'm pleased to announce that we have officially selected an architecture for this state-of-the-art system that will deploy next-generation technologies across the land, sea, and space, including space-based sensors and interceptors. And Canada has called us, and they want to be a part of it. So
Canada wants to be a part? I remember Star Wars on the deal, and they said Reagan was nuts at doing that. Brought Soviet Union to its knees. Chinese spies at Stanford University.
Students are speaking out against threats posed by Washington's top adversary, Communist China. The school's own newspaper, the Stanford Review, is accusing the regime of inserting spies on campus, tasked with coercing students and stealing the school's intellectual property.
Not China. They would never do anything like that. Not the exalted China. We're going to get more on that from the Garrett Malloy, Lisa Johnson story later on. Trump is absolutely, he is hands down best comedic president we've had yet.
got the Olympics and the World Cup, and I won't be president, and they're going to forget that I got them. Nobody's going to mention it because, you know, a little bit, that's the way life is. And then they rigged the election. And then I said, you know what I'll do? I'll run again, and I'll shove it up their ass.
And shove it up their ass he did. President 47, Donald J. Trump, takes no prisoners, doesn't back down easily, if at all. That's why we love Donald J. 2 first responders hit FBI agent and the deputy fire chief out in Palm Springs, saved the embryos from that attack, that bomber attack there in Palm Springs. So good job, guys, saving the day. Gotta love Ron DeSantis. A little short quip. Against Yokel Hokel and Gulag Gavin Newsom. But there's a lot of truth in this. We go.
But as governor, I do have a cheat code. I can simply look to California, Illinois, New York, and then do the opposite of what they're doing. And it usually works out pretty good.
Yes, it does. You do the opposite of ding dong. California, it usually works out pretty darn good. There's that funky slide guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday, live at almost 5. Evil Epi Network Rumble X. Well, X is still giving us trouble. YouTube still on. I don't know, we might be setting a record. On that, lots of stuff. Gotta love Donald J. Best comedic president. We're gonna shove it up their ass. Oh, man. Every day. At least Monday through Friday, every weekday, I believe, he has made a press conference, answered questions. Now, we're almost 4 months into the administration, and he's not slowing down yet, announcing the new shield to protect us from missiles. That will go a long way into neutralizing any sort of, let's say, jackasses that may want to harm the good old US of A. We shall see what happens with that. Good Moreno Valley City Council, just to touch on that, we're going to see if Ulysses Cabrera, after 2 weeks, hasn't apologized for his childish and unprofessional behavior. All city council, culminating with the insults and beratement of council member Shaylinda Bernard. We'll see what he says tonight. Still nothing on the planning commission, nothing. The guy's got to go. There's just no other way around this. For any reason, he should be done. I don't know. Maybe we'll have some resolution to this revolting situation, as they say. Ron DeSantis quit. Yeah, all you got to do is do the opposite of what Fat Boy Pritzker in Illinois, Yokel Hokel, or Gulag Gavin Newsom, and you'll probably be right 98.7% of the time. He said it's worked out very good. Florida, Texas, growing like a weed. California, New York, Illinois, in a mire of depression, gloom, despair, and agony on me. If you were a big fan of Hee-Haw. We'll get more into that in a little bit. Democratic Party falling apart. They don't know which way to go. Rudderless ship. High-speed rail, we got more on that whole little fiasco. Rocking and rolling and ripping in. You know, more of this stuff comes in every day. The burglars, you know, it's bad enough when they just smash through the door of your business, you know, was using crowbars or bust the windows out. When they drive a frickin' car through the front of your store.
Effort you got to put into just cleaning up, let alone making sure that the kids and certain people have jobs. So you know what I'm saying? It's heartbreaking, bro.
Heartbreaking, he says, as the writing's on the wall all over here along Fairfax, one closed business after another. This security video from yet another business hit not once but twice in just the last few months.
Just watching my neighbor go through it, I knew I wasn't exempt, but I didn't think it was going to ever happen because it seemed like once he went through it twice, it should have brought more awareness to the neighborhood. But I think I guess it didn't.
He's with.
I guess it didn't. Didn't bring more awareness to the neighborhood. His neighbor got hit twice. What did he think he had the Trump shield over him where it's impossible that anything could penetrate his store? You know, they probably don't want to admit they voted for Karen Bass, Gulak Gavin Newsom, Eloise Reyes, Maxine Waters, Isaac Bryan, Corey Jackson, and the whole crew. Well, yeah, seems like more should have been done about this. Well, maybe we're getting a chance. We'll get to the Essayli story here in a minute. Nathan Hochman, the new DA, saying, hey, we're going to start busting illegal aliens in LA County. We're going to prosecute them. We're going to turn them over. Essayli's operation, I think, was a Golden Shield. No, that's Trump's deal. These guys, because people should, maybe it takes the crooks driving a car through your sneaker store to get your attention. It's sad that we have to get to this point. More from the great Ed Lascos, Fox 11. Go.
With the latest target, Soul Stage, its storefront smashed open. The burglars using that blue Toyota as a battering ram, stealing high-end merchandise in just seconds, and the timing of this could not be any worse.
Now the people that's going on vacation to come out here, we're going to be closed for who knows how long because the glass takes 3 weeks, and then the door, it's just complicated, man.
Complicated, as he and the other business owners here decide if they even want to stay and put up with all of this or be driven out by the smash and grabbers.
We just dropped the sneaker shopping video today, so it brings the awareness to the store, but now the store's closed, so there's nothing I can do.
You're just hanging tough right now.
I'm just hanging tough.
Yeah, hanging tough, hanging strong, he says, now live. So when you add it all up, thousands of dollars to replace the glass, the door out front, all the stolen merchandise, the store probably won't be open until the middle of next month. And if all of that isn't serious enough, then you've got to worry, stay up at night, as he was saying, worry that you could be hit again. You could be targeted again. No wonder so many of the business owners right down this block, they just had enough. They packed in, they're gone. For now, we're live, the Fairfax District. Back to the west side we go.
Business is closing. Like Lasco said, other business owners packed it up. You know, when your neighbor gets hit twice in a couple months.
Having car problems? If you have a car with problems.
You tend to say, you probably gotten hit. Probably said, you know, we're not putting up with this ish anymore. We're done. Can't handle it anymore. You know, that's why insurance and everything else and costs are skyrocketing at breakneck speed because of this stuff. We tolerated this. You know, we elect Ulysses Cabrera and Erling Gonzalez here in Moreno Valley. The ding-dong Jose Medina, who threw manufacturing jobs out of Riverside County. When the economic reports, their budget adjustments show, hey, we may be headed for a heap of trouble, not only in California, Riverside and San Bernardino counties. Maybe not as bad as LA, because LA and San Fran are special types of dumpster fires. But there's a lot of storm clouds looking on the horizon economically, all up and down California. That's why Gulak Gavin Newsom's having a flipping heart attack. about all this stuff. You know, in some cases, it's when will we learn? When will we have had enough? I don't know. It's tough to say. We've got some important elections coming up in a year and a half. Actually, in a year, the primaries will be in June, a little over a year. Better have your ish together. We better start changing some of this stuff before there are no businesses left. The U.S. Attorney, the Red Wave Press, states of Central California, the great Bill Essayli has launched Operation Guardian Angel, targeting Los Angeles sanctuary policies by directing federal immigration officials to scan criminal database daily to identify illegal immigrants previously deported from the U.S. whom the DOJ can charge with felony illegal reentry. I've said this, asking Sheriff Chad, the Sharp, whomever, Police Chief Mack, why can't we, in Riverside County, list, which we do, we list all the prisoners we got, when their release dates are in, what time they are going to be released, at what location to the public. Not necessarily notifying ICE, notifying the public. Essayli figures they're going to have 40 or 50 arrests coming. Here's the bill. Malusian report on Fox News. Here we go.
It just started last week. It works, and we were given access to see it in action. In a Fox exclusive, you're watching an incredibly rare interaction as the jail in Los Angeles transfers an illegal alien to ICE custody. The sanctuary jurisdiction forced to hand this Mexican national over thanks to a first-of-its-kind federal operation.
With this, L.A., Los Angeles, had to be forced to hand over felony illegal aliens in our country being released from the L.A. sewer of the jail. Let that sink in for a bit. Had to be forced. To let ICE, Homeland Security, Bill Essayli, U.S. Attorney's Office, FBI know, hey, this guy's getting out.
This operation, we're going to be neutralizing California sanctuary state policies.
Bill Essayli is the U.S. Attorney in L.A. and the architect of Operation Guardian Angel.
California is the testing ground on this. We are one of the largest sanctuary jurisdictions.
All right, guys, thanks for circling up.
So how does it work? Essayli has created a federal task force made up of ICE, HSI, FBI, DEA, and ATF, all working together out of this office in downtown L.A.
How's his criminal history? He's got the domestic violence.
They scan these criminal databases daily to find illegal aliens in local jails who have been previously deported from the United States.
We have a warrant for your arrest.
If they've returned to the U.S., they've committed a federal felony known as illegal reentry.
Again, I would like to know why Sheriff Shannon Dykes, Sheriff of San Bernardino, Sheriff John Barnes, Orange County, Sheriff Chad of Riverside County, are not publicly posting the names, ages, files of everyone that's being released or about to be released. Okay, we got a rotation. Juan Gonzalez is getting released Wednesday, May 21st at 1:15 p.m. And make sure Juan Gonzalez is walking out the door at 1:15 p.m. on Wednesday, 5/21/25. There you go. That's not violating. You're not notifying ICE. You're just notifying everyone. This should be all across the board. Criminal, illegal, anything. Didn't fill out their paperwork right, missed the court dates.
And Essayli's office will immediately seek a criminal arrest warrant against them, which, unlike an ICE detainer, sanctuary jails can't ignore.
We're going to flood the system with warrants for criminal illegal immigrants that are in county jails. They can ignore a detainer, but they cannot ignore a criminal arrest warrant.
The federal
They cannot ignore a criminal federal arrest warrant. Again, why aren't we at the point where we have our county jails listing everyone, date and time they're getting released? That way they could just roll through the names. Okay, we need to, I think we see you, Cedri Perez's husband, on this list. Former Riverside cop. Current Coachella councilwoman. Backed by Riverside Sheriff's Association, no less. Oh, what a tangled web we weave. More from the Malusian report. I'm Bill Essayli's Operation Guardian Angel, crushing the California sanctuary state and city odious laws.
task force brought us with them as they went to Twin Towers Jail in downtown LA to take custody of a previously deported alien they found in their database and filed a warrant on. He was facing local charges for robbery, but the sanctuary jail immediately handed him over to ICE, with California's sanctuary policies unable to protect him from the criminal warrant.
They have no choice. They will comply. And if they don't comply, if they interfere in our ability to arrest a federal felon, they can expect to face consequences.
And the task force tells us once they're up and running at full steam, they project they're going to be able to arrest between 40 and 50 aliens from local sanctuary jails here in SoCal every single week. Now, if this is successful here in Los Angeles, the task force says this could be used as a model to neutralize other sanctuary jurisdictions all across the country, guys. We'll send it back to you.
If you want more illegal activity, you encourage or you don't enforce the law. You let people off the hook who are committing crimes. This stuff, as they say, is not rocket science. A lot of it. Some of it is. I will submit. But it's like this. It's like shutting down the border. Extremely easy to do. Look how quickly the Trump administration, Tom Homan, Kristi Noem, shut her down from the absolute tyranny going on here in the United States from 2021 to 2025, the beginning of it. It's absolutely crazy, incredible. Hopefully, we can fix it. I say that because, like we put this up, when will the illegality stop? We have a situation that's going to roll out at the Moreno Valley City Council tonight. Last week, Mayor Ulysses Cabrera, as we call him Baby Jesus, so that's who he thinks he is going in a rant, rave, called out every council member, well, 3 of them. Elena Bacchus, Santa Cruz, Ed Delgado, and Shaylinda Bernard was the crescendo. Called them out because little baby Jesus wasn't getting his way. Making a mockery of our city, trying to stack the planning commission with his cronies, political allies, so he can control everything. We go back to close to 4 years ago. The October surprise when Dave Marquez, as you see them, then a council member, and Cabrera, illegally appointed LaDonna Jemison. They never gave a justification of why, against the advice of the city attorney and the city clerk saying you cannot do this. He said, well, we are council members, we can do it anyway. Now I love Shaylinda Bernard, the councilwoman, and she had every right to be upset when Cabrera said, oh, you're just emotional, sit down and shut up. Don't question anything I do. As he did 2 weeks ago at the end of the meeting. But back then, and Shaylinda just got elected, and they censured Baby Jesus and Marquez, I believe. That wasn't enough. You see what's happened 4 years later. It just gets worse. This is why when you did not, as I said, put them under oath, and let's get to the bottom. Not where you can just say anything you want without any penalty when you're under oath. If you're lying, it's called perjury. You can be charged with a crime. So if you're not under oath, you can say practically in most cases anything you want. You can lie through your teeth. You can go up to the city council and lie all you want. Not a lot you can do about that unless there's some criminal activity to it. But this is what happens when you don't hold proper punishment. Prop 36, the 3 strikes. So how white hillbillies also want to do is put blacks and browns in prison and all that sort of noise. Well, now you got guys driving their cars through the frickin' front of your jewelry store. After half the businesses are leaving and the rest of them are probably packing up and getting ready to go. That's why Essayli's cleaning it out, Trump's cleaning it out, Nathan Hochman's cleaning it out. We got to get tougher on this stuff. There's no way in hell we can let this stuff ride. A lot of stuff going on. Not permanently appointing 4 planning commissioners, put seeds of doubt. Businesses are not going to come here, or not going to invest capital on a crapshoot. You don't know if the planning commission might be Joanne, Ray, Cobain, and Alvin today. Tomorrow might be somebody else. Not on the agenda. You can't let this stuff ride. It isn't even fair to those 4. let's have the discussion, but put 4 permanent members on for 3 years as you're supposed to do and do your job. Do your job as it was designed to do. Not trying to appoint yourself king, dictator, tyrant of Moreno Valley. We can't take any of this stuff, just nationally, locally, or anything else. Are we going to continue the issue, or are we going to continue to let illegalities, corruption, not transparency, I get to do what I want, and I'm going to stomp and scream like a 5-year-old if I don't get what I want? This stuff is beyond the pale, incredible, what the hell is going on? Maybe we'll fix it. I don't know. Maybe we'll change. Maybe we'll have a change of heart. Maybe we'll get our act together. I sure hope so. Because if we don't, we're all not going to like what happens next. Switching gears on another topic. Trump puts his plan out for a U.S. missile defense shield that could cost billions. Oh, well, no kidding. We know this kind of stuff costs a lot of money. It's no big rocket science deal. It's better than $12 billion for healthcare for illegals to know that your country is safe, not only from illegals, but from attacks from Russia, China, everything else. It's a great Donald J.
We'll be talking to them. They want to have protection also. So as usual, we help Canada do the best we can. This design for the Golden Dome will integrate with our existing defense capabilities and should be fully operational before the end of my term. So we'll have it done in about 3 years. Once fully constructed, the Golden Dome will be capable of intercepting missiles even if they are launched from other sides of the world. And
notice it's not like the bullet train. Oh, well, we'll have it done in 12 years. Then 12 years becomes 25. 25 becomes 50. Cost overruns. It's 27 gazillion times more. Sound familiar, Californians? Trump, hey, we're going to have this done by the time I walk out of here in 4 years. That's the difference between a man who knows what he's doing and these yokels like Ron DeSantis is. Hell, being governor of Florida is easy. Just do the opposite of Fat Boy Pritzker. Yokel Hokel in New York. Or good luck Gavin Newsom. Hell, you know you're going to be right 98.7% of the time. You don't even have to think. That's why we love Donald J. The Chinese spy story is interesting. Stanford University, one not only premier university in California, in the United States world. Engineering, medical school, law school. You got a Harvard degree, it's about, or I mean, a Stanford degree is almost like a Harvard degree, or used to be. Man, you could write your ticket. Now we're finding out Stanford University, California, has been permeated. We knew this, it's just now coming out. by the Chinese Communist Party. They've infiltrated with their spies. Here's more from the NTD report.
The paper said it interviewed over a dozen individuals, ranging from professors, students, and faculty members to China experts specializing in espionage. After nearly a year of investigating, the paper has drawn a conclusion. The Chinese Communist Party is orchestrating what it described as a widespread intelligence gathering network at Stanford. And the strategies the CCP's campaign is using are unconventional. First, the crowdsourced approach. The report says Chinese spies would task civilians who are sympathetic to the regime with collecting intelligence, going beyond the reach of traditional spies. The report also found the CCP is collecting a broad range of information, including...
Who do you think's brainwashing all these kids? They started at the universities. Now it's down to the lower levels, to TK, and that's why they want to get your 3-year-olds in there, and 2 and 1, and pretty soon, you know, mom's going to have the kid, kiss the baby goodbye, the government's going to take it away, and you'll never see them again. They've been using crowdsourcing, unconventional techniques. Who do you think's behind all these kooks, protesters, George Floyd riots, Joe Biden's stolen election? Now the books are flying. People are trying to, they don't want the stink to come off on them. They knew in 2020 he should not have been elected president in 2020. He was already white. You know, he was already not of a mental capacity to do it in 2020. That's why they had to come up with COVID. Unfreaking believable of where we're at today. There could be no greater threat to security. That's why we got to build the golden shield, as Trump's calling it. This is in the Free Press by Garrett Malloy and Elisa Johnson. Chinese spies at Stanford. Chinese law says that its citizens must support its intelligence work. Students who resist can lose their scholarships and endanger their families. They don't play in China for any reason at any time. The Star, the Hammer and Sickle, and all that stuff. They're in, but Garrett and Elsa, spent a year putting the story together. You know, they've heard all of that. This was in the Stanford Review, their school paper. It offers a rare glimpse of how China spies with chilling implications for U.S. national security. Here it starts off. Last summer, a man calling himself Charles Chen approached several Stanford students unsolicited using what? Social media. They were almost all women. They were invariably wearing China-related topics or researching China-related topics. One of them was Anna, a Stanford independent student working on sensitive subjects linked to Chinese economic and military developments. At first, Chen's outreach seemed benign. He asked about networking opportunities. They steal our intellectual property. They have no qualms about taking anything and anything to build themselves up. It's literally amazing what they do. This is in the New York Post. As we see. Amazing, amazing. The influence of the Chinese Communist Party on our universities, in our K through 12 schools, oh, the messages, those messages soon took a strange turn, according to the outlet, when Chen's questions became more personal, asking Anna if she spoke Mandarin, encouraging her to visit Beijing. Because Anna was working on very sensitive research. The operations like Golden Shield are things that are studied at Stanford and built. Charles advised Anna how to enter China briefly enough to avoid visa scrutiny from authorities, told her only to communicate through CCP monitored WeChat, and told her to delete screenshots. Anna contacted authorities. This all connected to the CCP, Chinese Communist Party, ping pong. In some cases, if students refuse to provide information to the CCP, their parents are threatened back home and sometimes interrogated by police. According to those back in China. So they're feeding information back through the ambassador of China and other backdoor channels, sneaking through immigration and customs. The House Select Committee on China sent a letter to Stanford last year warning of the risk of the Chinese Communist Party poses to our national security. What did they do? They had a hissy fit. One student who was experienced espionage firsthand was too fearful to recount their story, even via encrypted messaging. The risk is too high, they explained. Transnational repression, 84 million in Chinese funding, and allegations of racial profiling have contributed to the pervasive culture of science at Stanford and beyond. What do they shout? Racism. As they do all the time with this stuff. We're absolutely off our rocker. If we kept letting this stuff happen, it's happening at far too great a pace.
30 seconds, Roy.
We have 27 million of that. We're selling our country out to China, and we're afraid to do it. Sean said we'll be joining the Mighty Met KMT here a few seconds. Pick up on the Chinese story.
10 seconds.
We come back. those who support America. PatriotSwitch.com.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of the
There's a funky slide guitar music that comes in every Monday through Friday, live at 5:30 on the Mighty Met, 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire in the aforementioned AM band. Join your vast video audience in the Evil FB Network, Rumble, I don't know about X, YouTube, all that good stuff. Coming aboard on that, Essayli is busting the sanctuary city with a cooperation. Maybe not so unusual, of Nathan Hochman, the DA in Los Angeles County now, of that, along with the guys out here, Jason Anderson, Mike Hestron, Todd Spitzer down in Orange County, and the sheriffs, arresting criminals coming out of jail. They had to force LA City and county jails to do that. They figured out a way around it. Now, hopefully, arresting 40 or 50 at this point, and the amount of resources and manpower and money it's costing us is ridiculous. But that's what we have to do at this particular time. We need to change our politicians up severely to doing that. Smash and grabbers are just ramming their... that crowbar and hammer stuff was too hard. We're just driving our car through there. Has just exited businesses out of LA. Latest one's a sneaker store. Dude said, well, the guy got hit twice in the past couple of months before me. I didn't think I was going to get hit. As the Fox 11 Ed Lascaux report said, businesses are packing up down there right and left and getting out while they still have a couple coins to run them together before they lose them all. And we better pay the hell attention here in California. Bad economic news statewide. Riverside County had their budget updates, adjustments. Those don't look good. Crazy, crazy, crazy. We started off at the bottom of last hour. Chinese spies have infiltrated Stanford University, not only premier university in California, in the world, especially for scientific research, medical research, the tops. And what did they use? Who did they target? Mostly the women. What did they use? Racism. Oh, you know, them evil white hillbillies. You know, all they want to do is grab you by the hair and drag you into the bedroom. All this crap. George Floyd riots and all that. Once they got you roped in, then it's either you cooperate or you and your family are going to die. No wonder we have to spend now billions on Operation Golden Shield, as Trump announced today, so the Chinese communists don't just roll right in here like Grant through Richmond and take over the whole United States. There was a report in the Stanford Journal, the main paper there in the school, a year-long report by Garrett Malloy and Elza Johnson. Fabulous read. Check out the videos, they're coming out. Here's Michelle Steele, should be, lost in the last election, was a congresswoman from Orange County. She needs to get back in. I hope she reruns. What did Min, the drunk, beat her? Holy cow. Here's Michelle Steele on this. And I think she's from China, somewhere in there, but I think she is from China. Here we go.
One is bicameral, and then one is in Congress. And I learned just so much about this. And I was on the education committee too. President Trump is totally right. China is the biggest threat to all other industries, but especially universities. When they put hundreds of millions of dollars to our university campuses, it was hidden, so we didn't know. And last year, we started.
We did know. We did know. Maybe we didn't have 100% proof, but we did know. We were broadcasting it, others were. It was no big secret. They've been doing this for decades. The monolithic presidency of Poppy Bush, Bill Clinton, George W., Obama. We had to break 4 years and Trump won, then Biden. WTO GATT, the stupid trade agreements, one-sided trade agreements, all in favor of China and anyone else but the United States. We knew they were infiltrating. Hell, we knew it when the documents deal, when they raided Mar-a-Lago. And what? Biden's got documents in a Pennsylvania university that the Chinese have access to. But that was perfectly all right.
That's why I introduced the Deterrent Act, because when we found out that UC Berkeley received over $220 million from Chinese government, and they are actually building off campus in China 1.7 million square feet researching on semiconductors. It's very, very dangerous, but UC Berkeley never reported to the Department of Education that.
No, they didn't report it. Like the Malloy Johnson article. They're telling, oh, you can get to China, we'll skirt you around customs. You don't have to have a passport. And once they got their hooks in you, if you don't do what they say, well, they'll start by killing your family and torturing them. Then maybe we'll get around to you. Again, quoting from who did they target mostly? Women. What did they use mostly to create this chaos so that you couldn't see, or it was a shield for them stealing our intellectual property, killing our universities, indoctrinating our kids? Racism. Shout racism no matter what. You know, you don't know how to tie your shoes, you're a racist. In the whole rhetoric. It's 1,000%. 1,000% absolutely stupid. Some of the actual dumb stuff we put up with. You know, if you weren't watching it live and in living color, you would not believe it. This is what I want to warn people about. I have been. But as the saying goes, it's not a Republican movement. It's a MAGA movement. It's a Trump movement. As the headline says, the Obama coalition is turning into the Trump coalition. A new report shows key reasons why Kamala Harris lost. According to analysts by a data firm, Catalyst was shared with the Cook Political Report. The once reliable Obama coalition of young, diverse, urban turned into the Trump coalition. Their shift toward the Republican during the 2024 election resulted in Harris's loss. The report added that Harris' loss stemmed from unprecedented failure to mobilize new, infrequent voters, historically a core of the Democratic advantage. Why it matters? Despite her loss in 2024 presidential race, Harris is viewed as a top contender for the 2028 election, or the California governorship in 2026. Now, part of this, I'd like to know what proponent left thinks Harris ran a good campaign. Even now, we're finding out the long knives were Obama, Pelosi, Biden. We're all sabotaging her campaign. We'll get into that later on in the week with the books coming out. What to know, according to the newly released analysis, the electorate was more diverse and younger than ever before in 2024. That should be a Democratic Party cakewalk. Not first time a non-incumbent Republican has won the popular vote since Poppy Bush did it in '88, riding Reagan's coattails. And he had the advantage of being the vice president of the sitting president, coming off of one of the best economies at the time we ever had. The electorate was more diverse, younger than ever in 2024. There were 3 points less white than 2012. That should be a Democratic stronghold. The voters under 45 made up 36%, twice their share from the year President Barack Obama won re-election in 2012. Should be another harbor. Even Ding Dong Harris should have clean clocked. And Adel Joe Biden should have been ahead by 5 or 6 or 10 points. It should have been like a Reagan 49th state win for the Democrats if that was the turnout model. That turnout model screams Democratic for decades, for as long as I've been on this planet, for parts of 7 decades. Instead of leaning left in the past, the same demographic coalition that propelled Obama and Biden to victory shifted sharply to Donald J., marking a dramatic reversal in voting trends, according to the report. Among the most notable changes was a sharp rightward turn among men of color, meaning Black and Hispanic males. Men of color. Every man has a color. Jeez. Harris performed 6 points worse among men than Biden did in 2020. That drop was even steeper among Latino men, where she underperformed Biden by 12 points, Black men where she fell short by 7. Those two, they were majority in 16 and 20, and for as far back as you want to go, Democratic strongholds, double digits, men 80-20. Meanwhile, men without college degrees, traditionally among the GOP's most dependable supporters, showed only a slight additional shift to the right, suggesting that Trump gains came primarily from communities Democrats once considered part of the issue. That's because they have indoctrinated the white man and scared him with the racist talk and the Chinese, and just as we had before, and they got no frickin' balls. They won't stand up. They'll let their boys become girls. They'll let boys beat up their daughters in girl sports and expose themselves to them as adolescents and teenagers in bathrooms and locker rooms. And they'll go hiding in the corner saying, please don't hurt me. That coalition needs to get their act together. Harris also failed to galvanize women despite her historic candidacy. Her support among women mirrored Biden's in the 2020 performance, as she did not exceed his margins with Black women. Harris saw noticeable declines among Asian American and Pacific Islander women, where she underperformed Biden by 4 points, Latinas, where she dropped 7 points. Young voters, typically the most Democratic-leaning age group, were another weak spot. Harris lost 6 points compared to Biden among young voters overall. The decline was especially steep among younger Latino voters, down 12 points, and younger Asian American and Pacific Islander voters, down 9. Among younger Black and white voters, the drop was less dramatic, but still measurable at 4 points. And if you want to take the subgroup, the younger they get, if you take 20 to 29 and split them in half, those 24 to 18 went even harder for Trump. 25 to 29 was about the same as in 20 and 16, as far as Democratic-Republican split. Women 30 to 39, strongest Trump supporters. Women 40 to 49, some of Harris's biggest supporters. Just a 10-year difference. What Trump has done has won and put together a coalition that has cracked the Democratic strongholds without losing the traditional core Republican, conservative, center-right vote. That's the MAGA movement. It's not a Republican movement. It's not a traditional, as we've seen the last 40, 50, 60, 70 years, Republican deal. It's more based on free market economics, America first. We want to see an opportunity for us. We're not buying into the globalism, the phony COVID con, and the whole thing. We want the poisons out of our food. We want gas back to an affordable rate. Ironically, the 2024 electorate was more dominated by frequent voters than any presidential election in recent memory. The data showed that 47% had cast ballots in each of the last 4 major elections, a sharp increase from 38% in 2020. Harris performed well with these super voters, winning 50% of their votes, better than both Biden and Clinton in 2016. That's that 50, well, those born in the 50s, those 65 to 75 are now the new liberals, where it used to be 18 to 29s were the most liberal. Now 65 to 75, you got either side of that are still very center right. I don't know what happened. Well, I do. Don't have time to delve into it today. But those born in the 50s, those 65 to 70s are now some of the most left-wing nutcases we got. When defying the odds again, the only reason Democrats even have a hope is that the middle chunk of baby boomers are very Democratic, mainly because they got a lot of college degrees and they got a lot of, high income right now or retiring. What happens next? Speculation has begun about the Democratic contenders. They have none. What are they going to run? AOC? I will say this, like I said with Dr. Kelly yesterday. If Matt Mahan, the mayor of San Jose, runs for governor of California, I think he'll be extremely tough to beat. He's tough on, tough on crime, cleaning up San Jose in the mire of Oakland and San Francisco. More along the traditional Democrat that we saw in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Not a nutcase. Now, there's a candidate that could. I will say this, and I said yesterday. I don't think there's a center-right candidate that could beat Matt Mahan. A lot of them. Sheriff Chad or Steve Hilton or just about anybody else has a shot to beat Kamala Harris. That's why we're encouraging her to run. Run, Kamala, run for governor of California. Because we got two choices. If we're going to burn it down, then let's get to burning it down so we can rebuild it out of the ashes. If we get a good candidate like Donald J., we can take the state house. Mind you, we got to pick up 7 assembly seats and 4 Senate seats. All 80 are up. In the assembly, only 20 in the Senate, which is a much harder, as percentage-wise, road to hoe. You know, about 10% we got to switch in the assembly. It's like 20% of the House or of the Senate. But we got a shot if Kamala runs. And we even got kind of a shot if Matt Mahan runs because he's not a kook. You know, he could be that transitional candidate that starts turning things around. Look at all this about the latest things about the felony on soliciting sex out in the street from minors. Look at how quick they had to turn on that last year and then again this year. The gas prices and everything, the smash and grabs, everybody in their core left coalitions are going to hell in a handbasket. And it could be none too soon as far as I'm concerned on this. And I think most Californians, like we did Trump nationally, it probably takes us a little, since we were deeper in the hole, let's say, than we were before, than the rest of the country. Maybe it's going to take this by 26. Maybe we'll start turning it around in 26. Let's hope so. Because, man, we got tons of work to do. We have the tools to do it. I think we have the issue. We do have the issues on our side. We just got to execute. Quit blaming everybody else for how did these people get elected. They got elected. Just look in the darn mirror. That's how these dudes got elected. Lock, stock, and barrel. Let's roll through some of the locale news, as they say. Harupa Valley cops busted this dude who allegedly stole his landlord's car. I kid you not. Menifee police arrested a son, after he allegedly beat the crap out of his father. That was a 3-hour ordeal. Chino police have the results on their DUI checkpoint. I'm more for saturation patrols. Hemet cops popped a memory today of Sergeant Gonzalez. Went 10-7 for the last time. It's wild how fast times go. Crooks they are. Kamala Harris, the whole crew, stealing the elections, paying off Beyonce and all that stuff. Bruce Springsteen. Let's hope the investigations bear some fruit. Learn more about code enforcement in the next meeting at Harupa Valley. Recall targeting council member hits another roadblock. They got recall fever in city of Purdue. Chad Bianco has some questions to answer about the grand jury report of killing of a Rivco inmate under his control. That goofball in that bomber in Palm Springs at the fertility clinic, father of suspected Palm Springs fertility clinic speaks out, said his son wasn't, oh, come on. Nice picture of Joshua Tree as we roll through that. Undocumented immigrants in California jails targeted by Bondi appointee. We ran the Bill Essayli story. There's a really cool rat rod with a caddy motor and a 29 Model A. Good job, guys, of putting that out there. We have more. Let's see how much time we have left. Oh, we got a couple more minutes. Roll through some more of the report. City of San Jacinto is recruiting businesses at a conference up in Vegas. Riverside firefighters were dishing out the ice cream at the Heritage House Ice Cream Social. Judge pauses deportation of 3 detained in Pomona Home Depot immigration raid. Bad judge. Gender ideology does not belong in schools. Children cannot consent to puberty blockers. A mom is a human female who protects her kids from gender ideology. And so should a dad. Rancho C cops are on the theft patrol as they bust another with priors. So good job that. Ashley Babbitt, the one killed at J6 by the Capitol Police. Her family is going to get $5 million in a settlement negotiated by the Trump administration. Durangos and stuff. I'm not too great in the CHP or cops in these undercover cars doing traffic enforcement. 75-year-old woman goes toe-to-toe with a crook claiming to be a water company agent. It was a Fontana woman who fought them off. Good job, sis. Doing that meant a few minutes. Well, we got that on that. Nasty crash on the 215 by the 60 there in Moval, Paris area. On that press release. Juvenile was shot in the leg in Hemet. And that does it for the local report. And today, we usually say at this time, mandatory, we're back here in 24 hours wide. You're the best darn show in the whole wide world. Until then, see ya.
The proceeding was a paid program.
All right, Roy, take it easy.
You got it.
Did you check out that video I sent you?
Yes, I did. I might roll it tomorrow. There's so much stuff to get to. I want to get that incorporated. I haven't really had a time to catch up on all this Trump, all these books coming out about the stolen elections and all that stuff.
I'll be in on Thursday, so I'll see you Thursday this week.
Okay, well, maybe I'll hit it on Thursday.
All right, take it easy.
Got it.